Let me start with a question to all of you. Do you sometimes think about where your food comes from? Sometimes, maybe not always, but sometimes. But I want to take you on a journey today as a 5-year-old girl growing up in rural Maharashtra. When many men would gather at our home for lunch, my sisters and I would serve them dal and roti. I did not understand the significance of this act, but these were the days when India had severe food shortage. Food just was not available. For many in the room, I am sure, you cannot imagine this situation, and especially if you are under 40 years of age. Communities often came together to support each other. To think that for some men who came to our home for lunch, this was the only meal of the day still gives me goosebumps. We have made progress and moved on, where we have a significant surplus now. But my first memory is of seeds, relating to seeds is of tomatoes. My sisters and I sitting in a line, cleaning tomato seeds. My older sisters would cut the tomatoes, and I would put them through a sieve to separate the seed from the pulp. These were seeds that my father was working on, to see if the tomatoes that he was growing there would be more fruits on the plant, or if the plants would be disease resistant. This is how the seed revolution really started in India. I did not understand at the time. For me, it was just something to do for a few days when tomato season was in full season. And packet after packet of tomatoes would arrive at our home for harvesting seeds. This same act repeated around the country is how India would address its food needs in the decades to come. Everywhere we go today, we see a food surplus. In the mandis, in the supermarkets, everywhere. We cannot relate to a time when there was no food. And to think that a time existed in my lifetime when food was not available is really quite a scary thought. And while my children sometimes will say I'm quite old, really, I'm not that old. So when we think about our food needs and are comforted with the fact that we have food surpluses, we cannot forget that our needs are growing and our agriculture must work to ensure that we never go back to the situation that I described. So because of what happened which made us go from food shortage to food surplus? In short, seeds. Seeds made it happen. Seed policy made it happen. The Norman Borlaug's seed came to the rescue. Many of you may know Green Revolution, but some of you probably don't. But high-yielding varieties in the Green Revolution increased yields on the farms dramatically. Hybrids developed during this time also increased the livelihoods of the farmer. We went from a food shortage nation to a food surplus nation. When we think about what was unique about these varieties or hybrids that were grown, these plants were shorter. They stood upright, didn't fall over. They resisted disease and yielded more. The farmers' lives were transformed. With the simple adoption of these hybrids and varieties, we went from producing 750 kilograms of wheat to 1,600 kilograms of wheat in the same area, almost in one season. This is no small feat. If we think about it, what did it do for the farmers? the farmers, of course, had more money. If we think about the varieties and we also think about the hybrids which were adopted by the farmers, these hybrids were straighter, the Loki was straighter, so it could be transported more easily. The chilies had more intense red color, so the color could be extracted and used as food coloring. If all of these things led to prosperity for the farmer. When farmer had money, the farmer spent more money on education, had more money for health care for their children. And of course, instead of coming on a bicycle, the farmer started riding into town on a motorcycle. Looking at this transformation, growing up, I decided to study agriculture. These were really exciting times. Exciting times because science was progressing rapidly. And for the first time, at least for me, I could say, I believed that I could change agriculture like never before. I worked on a tissue culture project. The tissue culture project allowed me to produce an entire soybean plant from a leaf. Never heard of before. But this tissue culture method, combined with other tools which were available, allowed us to move DNA into plants, which we were not able to do before. Anytime we have innovation, we think something must be troubling about this, or I don't understand it, it's not natural. So let me talk about a few myths that we have about any innovation, and talk about innovation from the standpoint of this tissue culture and the DNA that we were able to move into it. Did you know that everything we eat has DNA in it? Whether it is the papaya or the tomato, but everything that we eat has DNA in it. The plant breeding process that developed the varieties and the hybrids actually is a natural process. Natural process by which you do trial and error and select materials which are better suited for the environment. And similarly, when you think about a banana and you think you have nothing in common with the banana, but in reality, 50% of our genetic makeup is identical to that of banana. And 98% of it is similar to the chimpanzee. So evolution has been always at work, and this is why scientific interventions were so critical for agricultural improvements. So when we look ahead and think about what it is that we need to do, science and innovation has to be critical for the farmers' livelihoods as we look ahead. I want to share one example of a product that we developed. It's called BT brinjal. BT brinjal actually has a protein, and it's like a vaccination to a plant. So the protein is produced in the plant, and if the insect bites the fruit, the insect actually dies. So why is it that we needed to develop a BT brinjal? A farming family in West Bengal actually sprays pesticide 74 times in one season to protect against this insect. 74 times, that means every other day the crop is standing in the ground. And so what fruits you get in the market actually have a lot of pesticides on them. And why do they do it? They do it because they don't want the fruits to be damaged. Because as soon as you see a damaged fruit in the market, when you go to shop, you put that aside, you never touch it. That means the market value for that has gone to zero. So the farmer will do everything at the risk of personal exposure and environmental impact to make sure that there's no insect damage in these fruits. And that is why the farmer sprays 74 times. Now, while these products are being developed, we have strict government oversight to ensure that these products are safe. this product that I described has already been cleared by the apex body in India for biosafety in terms of safety for humans, for environment, for microbes, and so on. Bangladesh has decided to go ahead and use this product, and for the last 4 seasons, the Bangladeshi farmer has been planting this. The consumers and the farmers are benefiting from growing this BT bangan. So in the market, you have tokaris coming with brinjal fruit with a label on it saying it's pesticide-free bangan. So what has it done for the farmer in Bangladesh? The farmer went from spraying 80 times pesticides in the brinjal field to 0. You may be saying, no, it's wrong. But it is 0. 0 pesticide applications required for growing this crop. So the question that you must ask is, why is the Indian farmer not growing it? A made-in-India innovation, ready for planting, approved by the regulatory body for biosafety, because that, of course, is something that we want to be sure is the case, and this is what we want to make sure, that Indian farmer has access and ability to grow this. So while plant breeding has been able to achieve a lot of things, we have to think always about the farmer and what is it that we want to do for the farmer. The farmer of the future, how do we elevate the farmer to the next level? How do we make him prosper? And the farmer does what we need, so the farmer has to feed us and our demands. We are a demanding society, and so the farmer is changing what he or she plants to make sure that they deliver what it is that we need. So at no time can we think that the farmer doesn't need the best in technology, the best knowledge and tools which are available. So in the age of big data and digitization, agriculture is really not that far behind. Agriculture is using the information, historical data on weather, for instance, to tell our farmers at what time we should plant the crop. Which crop will be more suitable because of the weather this year compared to how it was the last year. Similarly, if we look at a field today, and I like to say that I can fly a drone, but really not very well, but some other people in my team can. And so if we fly a drone over a field today, I can get the whole image of the field. In the old days, it used to take me days to walk the field, many people walking the field, before we would understand what was the crop cover, was there some plant which was using water more efficiently, was there some deficiency in fertilizer, and so on. So this is how agriculture is changing. This is how the seeds would have to change. And having technology and tools available to the farmer will keep the young farmers on the field and not have them looking for opportunities in the cities. We talk about nutritious food. We are all conscious of our health. You go to the doctor, and the doctor says, maybe you should stop eating eggs. You come back and say, oh, but I still like my omelet, or I like to make my cake, or whatever. Plant products are now available which have same properties as what the eggs have, but without the associated health risks. So as we think about the future, innovation is key. We need to think about how we bring the latest tools to our farmer. Availability and affordability of food should matter to all of us. Do you think about the thali that you will have in the future? Would it have dal in it? Dal prices have been fluctuating up and down. So if we think about it, the once affordable source of protein is no longer available to a large population of the country. So how do we ensure that technology is available to the farmer to grow, produce more, and reduce food prices at the same time. The young farmer is who we have to keep on the farm producing better, improving their livelihoods. What you and I eat comes in different forms, comes in less or more packaging. But the common thing is it is all grown by this farmer. And what the farmer plants in the field, it all begins with a seed. Thank you.